Victoria, ruler of a quarter of the world.
Victoria later described her childhood as rather melancholy. Her mother was extremely protective, and Victoria was raised largely isolated from other children under the so-called Kensington system, an elaborate set of rules and protocols devised by the Duchess and her ambitious and domineering controller, Sir John Conroy, who was rumoured to be the Duchess's lover. The system prevented the princess from meeting people whom her mother and Conroy deemed undesirable, including most of her father's family, and was designed to render her weak and dependent upon them. The Duchess avoided the court because she was scandalized by the presence of King William's illegitimate children. Victoria shared a bedroom with her mother every night, studied with private tutors to a regular timetable, and spent her play hours with her dolls and her King Charles Spaniel. Her lessons included French, German, Italian, and Latin, but she spoke only English at home. Prince Frederick died in 1827, followed by George IV in 1830. Their next surviving brother succeeded to the throne as William IV, and Victoria became heir presumptive. The Regency Act 1830 made special provisions for Victoria's mother to act as regent in case William died while Victoria was still a minor. 5. King William distrusted the Duchess's capacity to be regent, and in 1836 he declared in her presence that he wanted to live until Victoria's 18th birthday so that a regency could be avoided. William and Edward married on the same day in 1818. But both of William's legitimate daughters died as infants. The first of these was Princess Charlotte, who was born and died on March 27, 1819, 2 months before Victoria was born. Victoria's father died in January 1820, when Victoria was less than a year old. A week later her grandfather died and was succeeded by his eldest son as George IV. Victoria was then third in line to the throne after Frederick and William. She was fourth in line while William's second daughter, Princess Elizabeth, lived, from December 10, 1820 to March 4, 1821. At birth, Victoria was fifth in the line of succession after the four eldest sons of George III, George, Prince Regent, later George IV, Frederick, Duke of York, William, Duke of Clarence, later William IV, and Victoria's father, Edward, Duke of Kent. 3. Prince George had no surviving children, and Prince Frederick had no children. Further, both were estranged from their wives, who were both past childbearing age, so the two eldest brothers were unlikely to have any further legitimate children. Victoria was christened privately by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Charles Manners Sutton, on June 24, 1819 in the cupola room at Kensington Palace. She has baptized Alexandrina after one of her godparents, Tsar Alexander I of Russia, and Victoria, after her mother. Additional names proposed by her parents, Georgina, or Georgiana, Charlotte, and Augusta, were dropped on the instructions of Kent's eldest brother, the Prince Regent. Victoria's father was Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, and Strathearn, the fourth son of King George III. Until 1817, King George's only legitimate grandchild was Edward's niece Princess Charlotte of Wales, the daughter of George, Prince Regent, who would become George IV. Charlotte's death in 1817 precipitated a succession crisis that brought pressure on the Duke of Kent and his unmarried brothers to marry and have children. In 1818, the Duke of Kent married Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld, a widowed German princess with 2 children, Karl, 1804–1856, and Feodora, 1807–1872 by her first marriage to Emiek Karl, 2nd Prince of Leiningen. Her brother Leopold was Princess Charlotte's widower and later the first King of Belgium. The Duke and Duchess of Kent's only child, Victoria, was born at 4:15 a.m. on May 24, 1819 at Kensington Palace in London. Victoria married her first cousin Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha in 1840. Their children married into royal and noble families across the continent, earning Victoria the sobriquet the grandmother of Europe and spreading haemophilia in European royalty. After Albert's death in 1861, Victoria plunged into deep mourning and avoided public appearances. As a result of her seclusion, British republicanism temporarily gained strength, but in the latter half of her reign, her popularity recovered. Her golden and diamond jubilees were times of public celebration. Victoria died in 1901 at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, at the age of 81. The last British monarch of the House of Hanover, she was succeeded by her son Edward VII of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Victoria was the daughter of Prince Edward, Duke of Kent and Strathearn, the fourth son of King George III, and Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. After the deaths of her father and grandfather in 1820, she was raised under close supervision by her mother and her controller, John Conroy. She inherited the throne aged 18 after her father's three elder brothers died without surviving legitimate issue. Victoria, a constitutional monarch, attempted privately to influence government policy and ministerial appointments. Publicly, she became a national icon who was identified with strict standards of personal morality. Victoria, Alexandrina Victoria, May 24, 1819, January 22, 1901, was Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland from June 20, 1837 until her death in 1901. Her reign of 63 years and 216 days was longer than that of any previous British monarch and is known as the Victorian era. It was a period of industrial, political, scientific, and military change within the United Kingdom, and was marked by a great expansion of the British Empire. In 1876, the British Parliament voted to grant her the additional title of Empress of India,